So today we're sitting down with CEO of Skyharbour Resources and founder of Rockridge Resources, Jordan Trimble. We're going to talk about a couple exciting Canadian discoveries and why investors might want to take another look at exploration companies. Go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. Always good to see you. Just talk a little bit about the mineral discovery process, some notable discoveries over the last few decades, and an emphasis on Canadian discoveries. I think it's important to note, being in Canada, we're well endowed with mineral deposits of all different types throughout the country. It's one of the best places to work in terms of a mining jurisdiction globally. It's always ranked, the various provinces ranked, highly ranked by the Fraser Institute, one of the best places to work geopolitically. We don't have to worry about a lot of the stuff that you have to worry about in other jurisdictions. So you have the environment, you have the landscape to go out there, and as companies go out and follow a process to make these new discoveries. Now, as you're well aware, this is a high-risk, high-return business, right? They're very difficult to find. Finding the next generation of metal deposits is no easy task. But one of the exciting things that I've seen since I've been into the business is there's new techniques, new methodologies, new thinking that companies and their technical teams, their geologists and engineers are employing to make these new discoveries. There's more tools on our belt, if you will, at our disposal to go out there and find the next big copper deposit, find the next big uranium deposit or gold deposit in a good jurisdiction. So if you look at the history, in particular over the last 40 years, some notable discoveries and area plays that were created as a result of it, and additional discoveries after the first discoveries were made. You look at Boise's Bay in the 90s, well-known discovery. You look at the Diamond play up in the north in the 90s. You look at the Golden Triangle with Eskay Creek and Snip. You look at Hemlo. These were massive discoveries in Canada that led to a significant value and wealth creation for shareholders, investors in these companies. And what's interesting right now is we've seen in more recent years new discoveries being made in Canada, a new wave of discoveries being made, and they're being made with technical teams, geologists that are simply looking at these rocks, the geology through a different lens, right? In addition to some new techniques and technologies that they can use that can help vector in on these deposits. So some more recent discoveries that we've seen. Everyone's probably familiar in the Golden Triangle, GT Gold. That was a significant discovery that we saw a few summers ago. When you move over out east into Ontario, Great Bear has been a huge success. That's a great example of going into a project that it had a fair bit of historical exploration and drilling. The team there did a fantastic job of essentially drilling it a different direction, replotting the holes, looking at the rocks a different way, and lo and behold, that's been one of the best performing stocks, having gone from 50 cents to $8 now.
So 40 or 50 cents to $8. That's obviously something that everyone can appreciate.
Yeah, so we want to talk share price appreciation. I mean, these are the 10 bagger, 20 bagger potential returns when you go out and you make a new discovery. That's the kind of return potential you can see. More recently, just in the last few days, a company called Azimut made a major discovery in the James Bay region of Quebec. Their share price, we've seen it go from 40 cents up to $1.50, $1.60. So in a very short period of time. So this is exciting stuff. This is really, I think, what investors need to look at right now as we're coming in to a metals market. We've seen the metal prices, in particular the precious metal prices, increasing. I think we're going to see that rising tide continue. So you get basically a leveraged way of playing the metal and mining market with discovery stories, with exploration stories, because they're small cap companies that have that potential to generate those significant returns, those returns that outperform even their mid and large cap peer group companies, right? So this is what gets me excited, needless to say. The companies that I'm involved with, Skyharbour Resources, which I'm the president and CEO of, a uranium company with projects in the Athabasca Basin. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but before I get into that, just a quick history on my career in this industry. So as you know, I started with a gold company called Bayfield Ventures, and I saw firsthand fresh into this industry, the kind of excitement and the kind of gains that can be had on the back of a high-grade discovery. And in this case with Bayfield, it was a high-grade gold discovery in Ontario. The stock, when I joined the company in 2010, it was a small cap company, a few $1 million market cap. We saw the share price on the back of this discovery increase from about 15 cents, and then about 8 months later, post-discovery, it was trading north of $1. And so you can see these kinds of returns in a very short period of time. What ended up happening there was the company was acquired. We sold it to a larger mining company called New Gold. And that's really what we're in the business. That's our main strategy, is to make these discoveries, delineate resources, de-risk the projects, and ultimately sell it to a larger company, a mining company that's going to come in and develop it. So that was where I cut my teeth, and I saw that discovery process play out, systematic exploration leading to a new high-grade discovery, which ultimately led to the company being acquired. When I started Sky Harbor 6.5 years ago, with my head geologist, Rick Kazmersky, he's based in Saskatoon with our geological team. One of the main reasons that we got into uranium exploration, high-grade uranium exploration in the Athabasca Basin, was this slew of recent discoveries in the basin. And what was exciting there was that companies were going into a brownfields jurisdiction. The basin, there's been lots of exploration, development, and mining there for many decades now. It's the most prolific, highest grade depository of uranium in the world. But what we were starting to see was new techniques and some new thinking being applied to the discovery process. So whether it was new geophysics that allowed us to target these small high-grade uranium deposits better. One of the characteristics of uranium, it's radioactive, so radiometrics you can use. But what was interesting too was we started to see more exploration, more drilling taking place, looking for deposits in what's called the basement rock. And I don't want to get too technical in terms of the geology, but there was a lot of the historical exploration drilling was focused in the overlying sandstone, the sediment. So most of the deposits had been found in that setting. We started to see more companies in the last 15 years look deeper, look into the basement rock where the source mineralization, the feeder zones for those high-grade sandstone-hosted deposits were found over a period of 30 or 40 years. And lo and behold, we had major discoveries made like NextGen, like Fission, like Hathor. Hathor, I'll note, also was acquired by Rio Tinto in 2012 for $650 million. So here's another example of a small cap company that over the course of a 5, 6, 7 year period, jumped up to a $650 million valuation and was acquired by one of the largest mining companies in the world, right? So we took a look at this and we saw, it was interesting. We're watching these new techniques, these new methodologies being employed. Geologists, technical people looking at the rocks through a different lens, bringing all these new methods and ideas together to yield and make these new discoveries. And so, historically, for example, in the basin, it was pretty rudimentary how they go about making these discoveries. You go and you do some basic geophysics, then you drill hundreds of drill holes down to 400, 500, 600 meters. That's how the large deposits like MacArthur and Cigar Lake were discovered. Well, that's an incredibly expensive endeavor, and it's probably going to blow up the cap structure of a junior company. So the fact now that we can go in and with a lot less money spent, as I like to put it, call it return on drilling. Your discovery costs are lowered because you can use the new technology and new techniques that we have to vector and to hone in on these high-grade deposits. And that's exactly what we're doing here at Sky Harbor. We're planning about to commence a 2,500 meter drill program. We've just flown these drone geophysical surveys, so that's something we didn't have the luxury of doing even 5, 6, 7 years ago, and that's given us better imaging and a better signature at depth in these basement rocks, this geological setting that we're now looking in. And it's exciting because we have high grade in the sandstone, but we haven't been able to properly drill or explore test the underlying basement rocks where the feeder zones are. So we're going to be doing that here shortly. One of the other things I can touch on too is and this is something we're looking at, is the use of AI and machine learning, right? Because there's been a lot of historical exploration in parts parts of Canada that obviously have led to discoveries and mines coming on. But we're now, so there's lots of data. There's lots of data out there, layers of data, geological data, and with the advent of AI and machine learning, it gives us a new way of analyzing this data and prioritizing targets, again, leading to more discoveries being made ultimately at lower costs, and that's what investors should get excited about. So I think we're in a new age of discovery and exploration. I know at Sky Harbor we're utilizing these new tools, these new techniques, and we're starting to see these new discoveries being made at lower costs. And again, talking about the return potentials, this is really, in my opinion, the most exciting part of a mining company life cycle is that discovery stage and process.
Cool. It's a renaissance for exploration companies, and the technology is pretty fascinating. Thanks so much for coming in and telling us a little bit more about that and sharing with us your wisdom. Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.